Hi kids, welcome to Isaac Kids. I am super duper excited today because we are going to study plant life, which is going to be so much fun. Let's start with a fun fact. The tallest tree in the world is over 300 feet tall. Can you imagine 300 feet tall tree? Do you know which one is it? Comment below if you know and tell us. Let's start the chapter now. About one third of the world's land surface is covered with forests, which support a variety of plant life. A large group of trees, what is it called? Yes, it is called a forest. Some plants bear flowers while others don't. Plants like peas, dahlias, sunflower, and marigold, they bear flowers and are known as flowering plants. whereas flowers whereas plants like pine, spruce, and fern, they do not bear flowers, therefore they are known as non-flowering plants. Easy so far, right? Now let me ask you a question. Name a plant that bears cones. If you know that, let us know in the comments below. So the next topic is plant reproduction. Like all other living things, plants to produce more of their own kind. And why do they do that? So that their species does not die out. In other words, plants reproduce. Plants reproduce in different ways. These include reproduction through seeds, through spores, and through different parts of the plant body like stem, root, or leaf. Let's first know about reproduction through seeds. Plants like mango, brinjal, tomato, and orange bear flowers. These flowers change into fruits. The fruits have seeds inside them. The seeds inside the fruits grow into new plants when they get adequate amount of air, water, soil, and temperature. Let's now see the structure of a seed. A seed has three main parts. These are seed coat, seed leaves or cotyledons, and baby plant. Let's first talk about the seed coat. It is the outer covering of the seed. It protects the baby plant present inside the seed. It has a tiny opening. And why is that required? So that air and water can enter the seed. Seed leaves or cotyledons, on the other hand, contain stored food, which is used by the baby plant for growth. Some plants, like rice and corn, they have only one cotyledon, while plants like peas and gram have two cotyledons. Now let's see the role of baby plant. After germination, the baby plant grows to become a new plant. Okay, let me tell you one more thing, guys. Only flowering plants reproduce through seeds. However, some plants reproduce through spores or other parts of the plant body like stem, root, or leaf. Understood? Now let's see the life cycle of a plant. An adult plant gives flowers that turn into fruits and seeds from which new plants are born that grow up to form adult plants again. Interesting, right? Do you know of any other life cycle? If yes, comment below and tell your friends too. Next is germination. An adult plant produces many seeds. Now tell me something. Do all seeds grow into new plants? What do you think? No. But why so? Well, this is because some seeds are eaten and digested by birds, insects, or animals, while some are destroyed by bad weather, while others may not get sufficient air, water, or warmth to grow. However, if a seed survives and gets suitable conditions, then it produces a baby plant or a seedling. The process by which a baby plant or a seedling emerges from a seed and begins to grow is called germination. Let's see the right conditions for germination. Most seeds do not germinate until the conditions are right. All seeds require air, water, and proper temperature to germinate. Some seeds may also require proper sunlight for germination. Interesting so far, right? Now, do you know what are the stages of germination? Seed germination begins when the seed takes in water rapidly and begins to swell. Let us study the different stages in the germination of a bean seed. Step 1. When the seed gets adequate water, air, and warmth, it germinates, right? It starts absorbing water through a tiny opening present in the seed coat. The seed coat becomes soft and loose. The water also softens the food that is stored in the cotyledons. Next step is, as the seeds swell, the seed coat splits and the tip of the baby plant emerges. It soon starts growing roots in the downward direction. The root helps to fix the seed in the soil. Is there any more advantage of having roots? It also absorbs water and minerals from the soil. So, two functions of root here are, it helps to fix the seed in the soil and it absorbs water and minerals from the soil. Right? Now, the growing baby plant uses the food stored in the cotyledons for growth. The baby plant soon develops a shoot which grows in the upward direction. The growing seedling soon develops leaves and starts making its own food. Now, what would happen to the cotyledons? By this time, the food present in the cotyledons is all used up, so the cotyledons dry up and fall off. This indicates that the process of germination is complete. Wasn't it pretty interesting, kids? Now, if you are liking it, please click on the like button and subscribe to the channel if not done already, because we are coming up with more videos. Next is dispersal of seeds. A plant usually produces many seeds. What would happen if all seeds fall and germinate near the mother plant? Can you think? Well, if seeds germinate and start growing close to each other, then they would not get enough sunlight, water, nutrients, or space to grow, right? Due to this, some seedlings would die while others would show poor growth. Hence, seeds need to be scattered in order to prevent overcrowding. The process by which seeds are scattered away from the mother plant is called dispersal. Now, how would dispersal occur? Since plants cannot move from one place to another, seeds are dispersed by wind, water, animals, or explosion of fruits. These are known as agents of dispersal. Now, let's study these agents one by one. First is dispersal by wind. Some plants have seeds that are very light and have special features like wings or hair. Such seeds are easily carried away or dispersed by wind. For example, sycamore seeds have wings that help them to fly long distances. Another example is dandelion seeds. They have hair that act like little parachutes and carry them away. And lastly, cotton seeds have fluff. They are fluffy so that they can float away. Interesting, right? Next is dispersal by water. Some plants grow in or near water. Seeds of such plants are usually dispersed by water. Such seeds have a waterproof covering. For example, the seeds of coconut plant have a fibrous covering which helps it to float. Similarly, lotus has a spongy and light fruit which floats on the surface of water. When the seeds mature, the fruit tips and releases the seeds into the water. Now, let's see dispersal by animals. Sometimes birds and other animals eat the fleshy fruit and throw away the seed. Or they may eat both, but the seeds are passed out unharmed with their droppings. This helps in the dispersal of seeds. Mango and orange seeds are dispersed by animals. Some seeds have hooks, spines, and bristles. They stick to the fur of animals or clothing of human beings and are dispersed. For example, burdock seeds, they have hooks, while cocklebur seeds have spines which help in their dispersal. Next is dispersal by explosion. Now, fruits of certain plants like pea, ladyfinger, and bean, they burst open on ripening and scatter the seeds in all directions, leading to their dispersal. This method of dispersal is known as explosion. Now, let's see the next topic: reproduction through spores. Some plants some plants like mosses, ferns, and fungi do not bear seeds. So how do they reproduce? They reproduce with the help of tiny dust-like structures called spores. Reproduction through roots, stems, and leaves is our next topic. Now, some plants reproduce through various body parts like root, stem, or leaves. Let's first see reproduction through roots. Certain plants like dahlia, carrot, radish, or turnip can reproduce through their roots. Plants like potato and ginger can reproduce through their stem. Plants like rose, money plant, and sugarcane can grow into new plants through stem cuttings. What is a stem cutting? A stem cutting is a length of stem which is planted in the soil. Now try doing this. Cut a small portion of the stem of money plant and place it in a bottle of water and keep it in sunlight. You would observe that roots start developing in a week. Interesting, right? Try this, and when you get the roots, comment below and tell us how long did it take for roots to grow. Now, let's see reproduction through leaves. Some plants like bryophyllum reproduce through their leaves. Tiny plantlets grow along the edges of the leaves. See this. Now these plantlets drop off after some time and grow into adult plants. I totally love this part. Next topic is agriculture. We get most of our food from plants. Plants of the same type that are grown over a large area for food or other uses are called crops. The practice of growing crops on a large scale for food or other purposes is called agriculture. Different crops grow in different seasons, climates, and soils. Let's first see crops and seasons. Some plants like wheat, gram, mustard, and beans are grown in winters. Different crops require different types of soil to grow well. Hence, crops are grown in different places according to the kind of soil and the amount of water that they require. For example, crops like rice and jute grow well in clay soil, which can hold a lot of water. On the other hand, crops like jawar and bajra grow in sandy soil and do not require a lot of water. Similarly, cotton grows well in black soil. Tea plantation requires moist, well drained soil, which is commonly found on hill slopes. Where is tea majorly grown in India? Do you know this? If yes, comment below and tell us. Now let's get to our last topic, which is stages of agriculture. Growing a healthy crop requires a lot of hard work and preparation. Do you agree? Let us learn about the various stages of agriculture. First is preparation of soil. And how do we do that? By plowing, because plowing loosens the soil. Next is addition of manure. And why do we do that? To make soil rich in nutrients. Then we sow the seeds. Sowing good quality seeds is essential for growing good crops. Crops have to be watered at regular intervals for proper growth. Insecticides and pesticides are sprayed to protect crops from insects like locusts and pests like rats. Last is harvesting and storing. Once crop is ripe, it is cut down or harvested. The harvested crop is stored properly to keep it safe from moisture, insects, and pests. With this, we complete this chapter. Can you believe it? Which part was your favorite part in this chapter? Let us know for sure in the comments below. I'll wait eagerly for your comments. Till then, take good care of yourself, study hard, eat healthy, and be kind. Bye bye.